Sorry, due to some circumstances beyond our control, we couldn't bring you the news headlines, but the main news is at 12. In the meantime, we'll return back to our discussions on maximizing taxable entity prompt compliance for optimum public service. And just before we went on that short break, Dr. Paggy was on tax rebates, kind of encouraging through investment, industrialization, and utilization of the paid tax. Yes, continue from where you stop.
Okay, so I was even discussing just now privately with the director, and I was saying, look, these other countries that we are talking about that have engaged in tax incentive, they are running efficiently right now, and there are examples we are looking at. Okay. In Nigeria, we have the federal inland revenue and we have the state inland revenue, then we have the levies. If I was to advise the River State government, because we are having challenges capturing this or increasing our tax base, and we're also having challenges with the proper structure on what is and what should be, which gives room for corruption, can't we say do away with this thing called levies? Okay. River State internal revenue, collect your pay as you earn, your payee. Federal inland revenue, collect your corporate income tax. At the end of the month, there is an allocation from the government that comes to support whatever the state has generated, which is now going to be very clear to every business person that anything levied, this levied, that, all those things are out of the way. The only problem is maybe some local government persons and the rest would opt against it. But if the tax base is increased, then the revenue can be increased. Two, if it is easier for businesses to stay in an environment, unemployment reduces. You are also going to see a reduction in inflation, because when they have been given some sort of tax rebate, they are going to reduce their cost of production. If they don't reduce their cost of production, and it will reduce their cost of production, which will also ultimately affect their price. If they don't agree to reduce their price, at least we now know people can go after those who have refused to adjust prices given the realities of the economy.
Okay, let me come to the director on what he just said. Taking away the levies, definitely they'll fight. And this is the hypothetical allegation that this local government, what we see, and you go around businesses, once a new set of leadership comes from the local government areas, fine, and they are the grassroots, about 7% of the country's population are there, and the beauty of local government is direct interface with the people, okay? They know the people more, so they should even address them, and that's why some persons have put forward that they should have even more money than even the federal and states, because they interface. 70% of our population are the rural areas, local government areas. Now, but this is the allegation that they are lazy. Leaders go into local, for example, what's the you can Google what's the size of Bahamas, and they are making their GDP is in billions of dollars. Caribbean islands, some places what's the population of Netherlands and some other small countries. Okay, now look at Ishopu with all the agricultural potentials. There are agricultural countries who are making money from agriculture. So what stops the local government from looking at how to invest 10 billion in agriculture to create, and even maybe 100 billion? Look, the local government brings maybe 10 or 20 or 30 billion, and then get partners to bring the remaining, and then you create a massive industry whereby a local government is the biggest in Africa for palm oil, for cassava, for rice. What stops them? You understand? But you find out that, so what did they do? They resort to affluence discharge, refuse discharge, kanda discharge, slippers discharge, and all the, and then you set up Agro boys. You understand? So, sir, how do you, if we adopt this system, where we say, okay, take away these levies, can they be productive? Now, another part is, look at the law. Remember the former government administration under the former government, had an issue. There was a legal contestation in the court with the federal government as to VAT. Okay, so which ones should come to the local government if we take away levies? Okay, and then we're also discouraging them from relying on FAC, because we say FAC has made the local governments and states lazy. Yes, sir.
Well, we quickly, the issue that we are talking about appears to be weighing more on the part of the functions of local governments.
Yeah.
I know when you talk about levies, local government collection of levies is actually a constitutional issue.
Yes.
That we need an amendment of our constitution. Yes.
Okay.
Because we are talking virtually about the fourth schedule of the constitution that empowers, that clearly defines the functions of the local governments. Now, having said that, I'm also aware that there's also a constitutional provision in the establishment of local governments and for their viability, that 10% of internally generated revenue by the states should actually be given to the local governments for their developments. So these are all part of what you just mentioned now, that part of the reason for the creation of local governments, apart from participation of the people of the grassroots in governance, is to facilitate development at that level. And so ample provision is made to make sure that there is something in the kitty, there is something in the purse to carry out this development. Now, there are also other conversations that are ongoing. For instance, there's the transformatory change in terms of peace building, in the states. A project that is being carried out by the European Union and supported by the River State government for a consortium of the Search for Common Grounds, the SDN, and other groups. They are all working together towards that. And one of the key issues that have come up is how do we make for the viability of local governments. And part of the argument that we have put on as an agency, and which is also trending, and others have also seen the merits, is the fact that it is important for local government areas, to look inwards and look at areas of comparative. Every local government in River State, indeed every local government in Nigeria, is viable. Can we look at our areas of comparative advantage? You just mentioned the issue of agriculture. And you said even vegetable. Some people are exporting vegetable. So while all of us cannot do the same thing, but can we look at our areas of comparative advantage so that we can show up the economy at that level?
Exactly.
There is no fear that concessions are not being made. Another conversation has been that we have also talked about one of the presidential orders, which has to do with the ease of doing business, where concessions are actually given. And so if such concessions are given, there's nothing wrong. Just like Dr. Pagi mentioned here, it is all in the bid to show up as much as possible the economy, show up production, so that every person is happy. But we can't run away from the issues of insecurity at the local government levels too.
Because with more money, we can fund security.
Yes, even the little one that we have currently, even the little agricultural production, in terms of farming, fishing, the people that are doing this are not also, let's put it the other way around. Nigeria, our agriculture is still peasant based, because you don't see the massive high scale. Yes, you don't see it. So even those people, they are threatened. So how do we increase our revenue base such that we can now get into that point, say that okay, let us give some concession in terms of levy. Can we do away with some of the levies? But we haven't yet gotten to that point. We have not even fully explored some of the constitutional provisions. The local governments behave as if everybody must depend on allocation, and if allocation does not come, there is trouble. So production at that level is still very minimal, and you know that here, once you occupy a position, it is I. You talk as if the money is your own personal and that you are spending it as your own personal. So we need to get to a level of consciousness where the people can actually hold their government to account for even the revenues that are being allocated to them, the revenues that are being generated, until we get to that point, I think we are not there yet. We are not there yet.
All right, so if you'd like to join the conversation, you can call the following numbers: 0818 144 2222. That's 0818 144 2222. Also, 0907 060 7623. That's 0907 060 7623. Where those do not work, 08064339882. That's 08064339882.
You can also send text messages. You can also send text messages to those lines. We have 4 missed calls already. Sorry. Please call back. Please call back. The topic is interesting. It concerns everybody. But Director, I'm of the school of pragmatism and empiricism. And this is it, because this is what civilized countries has taken them to where they are. They are practical, they are realistic, they are scientific. Now, when we talk about people, one thing I found out in my country, in my state, in my locality, in Nigeria, we like excusing ourselves and we build castles in the air. For what you've just said, sir, you said, fine, constitution. And these are mandates. We elected, we voted for representatives to go, and it affects, this is huge. If you Google it now, you will see, by tomorrow I'll bring out that record. Billions of naira lost. And I've asked the question, why is it that our government leadership, they are comfortable losing money than giving people, if you tell them now, come and share 1 million naira tonight, they'll say there's no money. But when you look at the research and findings and report, they tell you, look, you're losing so much money that you will not even agree to share, but they are comfortable. So this is an issue. We're talking about showing up more money for the leaders to spend for the people. For all of us will enjoy it. Now if we have, as the weather is hot, a government like in China, they are creating artificial weather, and the government establishes something that cools our body, we will not enjoy it. If my mother in the village and she's sick can go to a specialist hospital without any sweat, paid by the government, we will all enjoy it. But the government needs money. So we're talking about how the government can make more money. Don't you think, sir, that those from the law now and the constitution, when you say the constitution matter, since you're representing me, representing you, representing every Nigerian, they should be talking and addressing this matter. It is we that put the law. The law is made for man, not man for the law. So we put the constitution. We need to take majority. They should be synergizing. You talk to you. How do we talk to? We need to do this because we'll make more money. We are losing billions and trillions annually. So why not we agree, get the majority in the 36 states, and then the National Assembly, and we just amend it, even if it takes 1 year. But we have made a huge progress. Secondly, I want to be real, sir. In terms of looking inwards, which of course some of the, even in spite of the insecurity talked about and all that, some local government chairmen, quote and unquote, without apology, they don't have it. Because I want to say something, ideas are not cheap. If you go to school and you read, not somebody wrote for you, you know that brain work is not easy. And so to solve the challenges of a state or local government and nation, it is brain work. It's not easy. And they take the shorter route. By let's just put Abu West there. So do you think that they have it to commit to bring resources together to generate wealth? Do you think they have it? Yes, sir.
Well, we you know the way government runs.
Yes.
First, because when you take us back to having or not having it, it also goes to the issue of leadership recruitment.
Exactly.
Leadership recruitment.
We vote them in, as it were.
We vote them in, but it's not the matter of voting in.
Yes.
It actually starts from the level of nominations at primary level.
Exactly. Yes, the candidates you bring forward to us.
Who nominates who?
Okay.
How did the person emerge?
Chose what values?
Yes, what values? Did I buy a form for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Did I buy a form for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Did they contest?
Without checking whether that person has the capacity to turn 1 naira to 20 naira.
Did we even listen to them?
Mm-hmm.
Did they talk to us?
Okay.
Or these are impositions.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the issues. Otherwise, when you are talking about government at the local government levels, we have also seen I think it has to do with some leadership qualities. Sometimes honesty of purpose, willingness to give accountability,
Beautiful.
earning the trust of the people,
Beautiful.
you know, and so many others. In fact, initiative, your capacity for initiative, how pragmatic you are, and so on. I must be fair. We have actually seen in the, if I should, well, it's a radio program, so let it not be an advert. Otherwise, I've seen people who are less educated in my local government area, for example.
Street smart.
Yes, in the late 80s and early 90s. For instance, where we used to have the SDP and NRC, my local government was actually governed by SDP in between 1991 to 1993. TFT Adubo, you can't say that he really had so much education, but he understood the people. And at the local government level, your understanding of the people, the culture of the people, what the people want, sitting down with them to deliver on the things that they want is very, very important.
Using their resources maximally.
Using their resources maximally. They are seeing you there. Every day they are seeing you. You are not under the command, independently taking decisions with members of your local. Of your local. In fact, with members of your ESCO. You know, the local governments also have their own supervisors. Sitting down with them, cooperating with the legislative council of the local government. All these things matter a lot. So it all depends on the person's idea of leadership and how the person eventually emerges. Did he actually emerge from the people?
Yeah.
Or he is an imposition, or a cabal of persons, selected him and put him there, and is only serving those people. So these are the areas where we have challenges. Okay. Now, on the issue of
changing the constitution,
the first schedule, the constitution, for it to change it, it has to go through a rigorous process.
Yes.
The local governments actually deal with the residual list most times, the residual list. And if you go to the first schedule, their functions are clearly defined, including markets, maintenance of markets, and for all this, they need money.
Yeah.
They need money, and that is where the generation through levies now finds a meaning. But the issue is how much of this money is generated. That is also,
do they even actually use it to maintain the markets?
Opaque. That is one. Then secondly, the leakages. In fact, even the 27 billion that we talked about, that's on the part of the state. There is the belief that we can even do much more than that.
Yes. That's why I said hopefully by 4 years we should be approaching 100 billion.
Yeah, that is at the state level. But at the local government level, are there systems that guarantee accountability of these resources, or these things are merely collected? For instance, a lot of taxes are collected every day.
Very well.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers, a lot of taxes are collected. These markets that we mentioned before we came into this issue of taxation, a lot of levies are collected. So what, at the end of the day, how are they accounted for? After removing the administrative charges, are there no leakages that we need to plug so that the local governments can be viable? And can the local governments also look at alternatives? Think outside the box to see how we can. I've just mentioned that let us look at our areas of comparative